Welcome everybody to the Friar Talk live stream. Today we're starting a little bit late. Sorry about that. I was finishing eating some breakfast. I'm a little bit tired. Sunday morning live stream, but we are going to be talking about the NFL. We're going to be talking about the Padres and really just anything that you guys have in mind. But Isaac, do you want to talk a little bit about this? We can start with the NFL, and then any Padres questions, any questions you guys have, we'll get into those. But you want to talk a little bit about this Chargers Ravens game because I feel like it's a pretty exciting one.
Oh man, it might be the most exciting game on the slate. I don't really know many of the other games, but this one's Lamar Jackson versus Justin Herbert. Both of them are 4-1. If you look at their stats in terms of like passer rating, passing yards, all that kind of or total yards, I'm not sure about passing yards, but um, they're very identical, very similar in each category, and this is going to be really fun. I mean, I think obviously in order for the Chargers to win, they're just going to have to stop the run game. We're down a couple of linebackers, so I think Derwin's probably going to have to play a lot of linebacker, which we saw in 2019 in the playoffs when we faced the Ravens in the first round. We had to play some safeties at linebacker and some corners at safety. So I think that might happen again today. But excited for this game. I don't really think either of these defenses are super scary. I know the Chargers had a really good first 4 weeks, but got gashed by the Browns last week on the ground, and I don't know if Latavius Murray will do the what Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt did, but he could have himself a good game. Lamar's obviously going to have himself a good game on the ground, and I don't know what's up with Mike Williams. He's playing, but I don't know if he's just going to play as a decoy, if he's going to play as that deep threat that he's been all year. As really not even just a deep threat. He's kind of evolved into like that Michael Thomas role that Michael Thomas had when Joe Lombardi was with the Saints. Um, However, if he's not fully healthy, Keenan Allen, good look for him to finally get going because he only has one touchdown. But very exciting game today. I'm super excited to see it.
And the Chargers are missing their backers, right? Like they're thin at
Yeah,
linebacker.
they're missing Kenneth Murray, Drew Tranquil. They're missing a couple of their linebackers. That's what I'm saying. Like Derwin legit might have to play because he plays 5 positions so far, so he
Yeah,
legit might have to play linebacker.
that's brutal, dude. Anytime you're missing linebackers against the Ravens,
It's
that's
Lamar, I know.
pretty scary.
hmm
But yeah, no, I think it's the best game of the week. I think in terms of quarterbacking, it's there. In terms of record, like team success, it's there. I think the Chargers have a much better team than the Ravens do. But that's the thing about the Ravens is like this year their team hasn't played very good, but Lamar has been on a complete different level.
Dude, I think
Dude,
he's the MVP.
well, so I was having a conversation with McCona, who's been on the show before, but he's a Ravens fan, and we were talking about it because he thinks Lamar's going to win MVP. Like he thinks he should, and I said like, yeah, he should, but I don't think he will, just because he's won it, and I think like
Mm,
I don't think their team's going to end up finishing with a good enough record, even though they're 4-1 right now. I just don't think their defense is terrible. Like their
yeah, it
defense is
is.
awful.
Mm,
Um, so I don't think he will, but right now he should be the favorite. He's
yeah.
not the favorite, but he should be. He
Mm.
leads the league in yards per carry and yards per attempt through the air.
It's crazy.
Like what?
He's doing this with like a team with like 6 torn ACLs right now. So,
Yeah, he has
I don't
he has like very little run game.
know.
Then his passing numbers, he's throwing 150 yards more per outing.
hmm
That is insane, dude. That is so nuts.
And that's something that we didn't think Lamar could really do, to be honest. Like, or I didn't like coming into the season. I thought, he's still just an okay passer, but he's evolved. Like, he's done really good.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I think besides that, what's the other game? Who are the Browns? Oh, Browns
Browns
Cardinals is a good one.
card, yeah, that one I saw it was hailing. It was
It's
hailing in,
hailing?
yeah, supposedly. I think are they in Cleveland? Because if it's in Arizona, then that's a false report. But
I
um,
think they're in Cleveland.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Here, let me look.
yeah, I don't
Let's
know,
see.
but I saw earlier that it was hailing.
Yeah, they're in Cleveland. Okay, well, I need to take someone out of my lineup.
Yeah, I saw it was hailing earlier. So I mean, Kareem Hunt. For anyone who has Kareem Hunt in fantasy, you can look for him to have a maybe not a big game because I know Kareem Hunt's numbers. Like if you look at his numbers from a fantasy standpoint, he's like last year he was actually better with Nick Chubb in the lineup opposed to without Nick Chubb in the lineup. Um, we'll see how that goes today. But he could have himself a good game today.
Looking up your Cleveland weather report. It says light rain showers.
Yeah. So 40 minutes ago is where it said it is hailing. Current winds are 15 miles per hour, expected to be 20 miles per hour by game time.
20?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for letting me know. I'm really that bad in a lot of leagues with buys, but I'm taking Donovan Peoples-Jones out of my lineup. That's how bad it is.
Damn. Damn.
But
That's not bad.
it's in Dynasty, so like I have like literally like 6 guys on buy, and I'm just kind of
Okay.
taking the L this week.
Yeah, I respect that. I mean, you have CMC in a lot of leagues. That kind of
Yeah,
that
it doesn't look
sucks.
looking too good right now. It's kind of burning me really, really bad.
Thoughts on Tua? Go ahead.
So I really like Tua. Like and I've only been doing this for a few years now, but maybe like 2 or 3 years. I've been doing like a lot of scouting stuff where I just like do a bunch of write-ups. I was a big fan of Tua. I thought he was for a while. I had him ahead of Burrow, but by the end, like I was like, all right, I love Burrow now. Like Burrow's one of those guys where you watch him, and you're like, okay, I get why this guy is so successful. And so he overtook Tua as the quarterback one of that class, but I had Tua as quarterback two. And that's so bad. Like that's so wrong. And like you just have to kind of learn from it. But I think what we've learned about Tua is that at Bama, guys were getting so much separation that it was so
Dude.
easy for him. Like,
Exactly.
and so I do not have a lot of faith. He has not looked good. He looks really small. He also just did you see the play today where it's 3rd and 2 and he's rolling out? He can run and pick up like probably 10 yards and he just throws the ball and completely misses the guy. It's like, dude,
And
pick up
I
the
didn't see
first.
it.
Like, so I'm not big on Tua. What about you, Isaac?
Yeah, so I will say, I'm not gonna say I was the biggest Justin Herbert fan out of Oregon. I will say I wanted Tua over Justin Herbert. And when we took Justin Herbert, I was like, damn, we could have got Isaiah Simmons. Because I know I'm not the only one that wasn't big on Herbert. I think the whole like everyone that wasn't an Oregon fan that watched, Pac-12 football, everyone that didn't do that was not big on Justin Herbert. And even if you did watch Pac-12 football, you probably saw his game against like ASU or something like that, where he didn't look like a good quarterback. But what we failed to realize, I think everyone failed to realize, was that basically what Matt said. Tua was playing with Jalen Waddle, Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, Jedrick Wills, Najee Harris. Like the dude had nothing but studs on his team. So of course he's gonna look great. All he's got to do is give his receivers an accurate ball. But what I failed to see in Justin Herbert was that the talent was there, although his best player was like a 7th round pick, other than Penei Sewell. So, Tua, I don't know what his future looks like in this league. There's a reason that the Dolphins were looking to acquire Deshaun Watson. I think that speaks to the faith they have in Tua, and I think unless you're a Dolphins fan that's really optimistic, I don't know if anyone else has faith in Tua either.
Oh, I think you're right. It's and it sucks too because I feel like a lot of it is injury related.
Yeah, because
he's unfortunate.
Definitely.
Oh, last year in fantasy, you picked up Justin Herbert when someone dropped him after the bye. Yeah, that's a decision. I did a few years ago. I ended up winning literally because of this move. I got Todd Gurley like a couple weeks before he came off IR when he was a rookie.
And a rookie, yeah.
And
that dude's nasty.
I think he was like running back 1 for like the last 6 weeks or something, where it's just like, oh, he just takes over.
Yeah, he was nasty. Last year, I remember I had Dak, and for anyone who played fantasy last year and had Dak, the numbers he put up. Like the lowest he put up was like probably 27 points. And so I remember we do FAB, so free agent acquisition budget in our league, and we get 1,000. And after that KC game, what's up, man? After that KC game, I picked up Justin Herbert for like $80, and I was like, "What? Nobody else put in a bid for Justin Herbert?" And the next thing you know, a couple weeks later, Dak Prescott goes down, and Justin Herbert's my starting quarterback for the rest of the year. No regrets. The dude was fantastic.
Yeah, you can always find. I feel like you can always snipe guys off FAB too.
Definitely.
because you'll just be like, oh, this guy should be going for way more, and people are like afraid to put money down on certain guys.
Oh yeah, I put 80, and I was like, I'm not gonna get him. I got him for like more than I needed to.
Yeah. So a couple people have joined. We started a little late, so we didn't have a ton of people starting out. But if you guys have any questions on the Padres, on the NFL, anything like that, we'll go through them. We just talked about too a little bit. Padres related stuff. It's kind of quiet right now. I mean,
Yeah.
of course it is. It's playoff baseball. I think it will heat up though. Like right when the offseason starts, I think it'll get kind of crazy. Any info on the new manager? No, we did a video a while back on like the guys that are rumored to be around it. Let's see, Jeff Bannister was one, Bruce Bochy, Ron Washington was mentioned. I've seen him mentioned a couple times. I don't know, like it didn't seem like he was like a super serious guy. Buck Showalter and Isaac. Who else was it? Was Aaron Boone one?
I don't know if it was Aaron Boone, but Gibbons. Shoot, I forgot the rest of them. You just gotta.
Those were the main ones, though.
Yeah, those are the main ones. Let me look at the. Oh, Osmus.
Yeah.
Brad Osmus, I think.
I think that might have been it.
Yeah.
Because Boone was mentioned. I think Boone would be cool.
Boone would be sick. Boone would be sick. But in the case that Boone isn't let go, there was another manager that was let go, Mike Schilt. Matt, what do you think of Mike Schilt?
Well, I saw. Okay, it's getting loud out here. You want to go real quick?
Yeah, I'll go real quick. I think so. The reason he got fired was because he was. I mean, obviously the philosophical differences, but he was basically standing up for his guys that the Cardinals wanted to fire because they weren't analytical enough or something like that. Which, I mean, yeah, like this game right now is analytics based, but at the same time, they were winning. Like they were winning a lot of games. They were on a 17-game win streak, something like that, 17 or 18. That's really hard to do in this league, and they did that to get into the playoffs. Like in August, they had like maybe a 2% chance. By the end of September, the season wasn't even over yet, and they had already clinched their playoff spot. So I think that's very impressive. I think Mike Schill did more than he was supposed to do with that team. I don't think that team was very talented, other than Arenado. Tommy Edman was good. Obviously, Goldie is really good. Yachty's up there in age, and obviously he's still playing some really good catcher. Wainwright is helping him out, but
pitching staff isn't too crazy.
Who?
Their pitching staff isn't too crazy.
No, it isn't that crazy. But I forgot the man, Tyler O'Neill. That guy is a beast. But
I think they kind of emerged too, right? Like
yeah. And they have really good development. Like, dude, Tommy Edman. Like, I think he's a really good player. He's out of somewhere in San Diego. I forgot where, but he's a really good player. Harrison Bader is a good center fielder. Tyler O'Neill hits yaks. So I like Mike Schill. I think he'd be sick. I don't really know what's up with the analytical stuff, but whatever it takes to win games, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I think he should definitely be like talked about as a potential guy, but it is a little concerning. Like, okay, someone's very angry outside. I don't know how you're just mad on Sunday morning, but I think it's one of those things where they're winning, they're performing well, they have great development. I mean, the Cardinals are one of those organizations that like reminds me of like the Spurs or like the Patriots, and just like their consistency, like they're always in the mix. Just one of those teams, and for baseball, especially like not a super huge market, they're literally like always in the mix every September. And this year looked like they weren't going to be. And like you said, they've had the division clinched like with like a week left, or the wild card clinched with like a week left, and they were back like 8 games or something. Like it was like not that far before. So they absolutely took over. Not being pro analytics, but it was also like hard to tell, like because I saw some Cardinal fans saying like this doesn't make any sense. Because guess what? Like after he got fired, no one got fired. That's what they were saying.
Yeah,
and I was like,
exactly.
That's weird. So it seemed like, okay, wait. I want to talk about this comment real quick here, but it just seemed like it was something where it was just kind of like ending for whatever reason. And it's hard to tell from the outside. But without knowing that, I think that he should be considered. Now, could something have happened where like you like, all right, maybe he should be put lower down on the candidate list? Absolutely. But it's just hard to tell from the outside, I think. And I feel like it's the same way with a lot of other guys. like, I mean, even like with the Padres, it's like it's hard to tell like what was the real problem, like what are all of the problems with like the downfall? Because
Mhm.
the way that Seidler, and we've talked about this, the way that Seidler and Preller talk about it, it was like all on Haas. But
Yeah, yeah.
that's just not the case. Like it's not on one guy.
Mm-mm.
And we're no Haas truthers, but like you can't just be blasting him for like literally all of the struggles, like and the organizational issues is just like, all right, that's not accurate.
It's just
Um,
ridiculous. Like it's not all on him. But
no. And then here we go. Heard many interviews of Seidler and Preller, and from their talk, it seems like they're going to bring another young manager. Yeah, they were talking a lot. Also, if you remember in those interviews, dude, it sounds like they think Tingler is going to be a Hall of Fame manager, man. Like, so, and we talked about this. Like, we thought they should fire Tingler, but if they believe that he is that good of a manager, you don't fire him.
yeah, I
You
mean,
don't go and go, yeah, we fired this guy, and then all you do is praise him. Like, there's a difference between like, we wish him the best, but it's like they're
yeah,
like actively bringing him up in the discussions. Like, we think he's going to be so good in this league. It's like, then why would you fire him?
yeah, exactly. I think like you're right. There's a difference. Like they could have just easily said, we had we saw our team going in a different direction. We thought he did some good for us in the 2020 season, and unfortunately, this team collapsed at the wrong time. It's not all on him. He did what he could, and we wish him the best in the future. And we wish him the best if he takes a new manager job. Boom, simple, done. But you're hyping the guy up to make it sound like this guy's the next big thing, and regarding the comment, I've become unopposed to getting a first time manager or a rookie manager just because like you look at the playoffs right now. Dave Roberts started as a first time manager. Brian Snitker started as a first time manager of the Braves. Alex Cora, first time manager. So like 3 of the 4 guys in the playoffs right now were first time managers at one point. Dusty Baker being the lone guy that's not. However, Tony La Russa and Dusty Baker, those guys are Hall of Fame type managers. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to put your finger on who the Padres will hire. Things have been super quiet. Like we don't know what to expect, and we don't even know who the actual candidates are because Ron Washington is probably actually really in the mix. But the fact that his team is still in the playoffs is probably what's putting it to a halt right now because he hasn't heard anything from the Padres. But at the same time, he's still in the playoffs. So we don't know when he's going to get the call. I definitely do think he's going to get a call or an interview, whatever it is. He was on the Darren Smith show not that long ago. And you could tell he wants to be the manager really bad. Like he's craving this job. Like he's hungry for this job. So I don't know. It's hard to put your finger on who could possibly be the manager. Oh, I see this comment right here. Do you guys think Tingler should have gotten another chance considering it was his first 162 game season? So I think he deserves another chance on another team. I think when they hired him for this job, I think they were in over their heads just because I think we all knew he wasn't going to demand the respect in the clubhouse just because there's a lot of big personalities in the clubhouse. Eric Hosmer is clearly a gigantic personality with the things we've seen about him recently. Fernando, the face of baseball, cover of MLB The Show, biggest superstar for the Padres possibly ever. Like it's going to be hard to demand his respect from a managerial standpoint. Manny played with Buck Roberts. He's he's had he's played with some good managers. Trent Grisham, he might be a big personality, not sure, but there's just it was kind of hard for him to demand the respect of these guys. Hasn't really been around the game other than like a bench coach and stuff like that. I didn't expect him to be anything crazy, but I expected this talent to kind of carry him. And as far as what I've heard, AJ Preller is always on the road. AJ Preller is always like in the Dominican, doing this and that, scouting, looking for a new wave of talent, trying to bring new guys in. And so with that, he had enough trust in Tingler to be able to manage the clubhouse and to be able to, actually battle the way he used to say, get these guys to go out there and battle. And he had a long time to be able to do that, and he just never did it. he was never he never like the way he sounded in his inner. I forgot where he said it, but he said he would have been more. He would have had some more confrontation, but he just never did it,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what cost him.
I think it's one of those things too. Like, do you guys think he should have got another chance considering this is the first 162 game season? I would probably lean no, just on based on how it looks.
Mhm.
But like, that's the last thing they want to do. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't want to fire him. Like, that was really clear.
Yeah.
So I think when you look at like, should he got another chance? He easily could have, but the fall in the second half was so bad that they had to address it in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one way they're going to address it. I hope another thing that they do is they move on from Hosmer. Of course, they'll be moving on from Pham, stuff like that, and bringing in some new faces. But I think that they had to address like the downfall and try to help as much as they could. And you're not going to see. I mean, what we learned is like you're not going to see them do that with AJ Preller. Like they're not going to change up the GM spot or anything. But they had to do something. So I think I think it's fine that they did. But it's definitely like such a bad like just look for the organization where like they didn't want to. Like they definitely didn't want to. And if it would have gone a little bit better, and maybe they don't even make the playoffs, I think that he would have got another chance. I think it was just that bad that like they couldn't do it. Like they felt like it really couldn't happen. This is a great one. I mean, there's a few guys that we want. I think Luis Campusano should be on the opening day roster.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that CJ Abrams and Robert Hassel have a very good chance to get called up. I think that Adrian Martinez, Mackenzie Gore, both of them have a chance to be on the opening day roster. And if not, to get called up very soon. I think Martinez is a little bit more likely to be called up on opening day. Like if he looks good in spring.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you think? And also, there was just an insane field goal right now in the football game.
No way.
Yes.
By the Jags?
Dude, like it was not going in, and it went into like the bottom corner of the pool to tie the game. That was insane.
By the Jags actually made a field goal? Wow.
Yes, they made 2 today.
Wow. That's crazy. But as far as our top prospects go, Campusano definitely deserves to be on the opening day roster. I think what the Padres are missing out of that catcher's position is they're just missing some pop. Like Austin Nola's a good hitter, but he only really hits for contact. He never really hits for power. So I think they're missing pop, and that don't even get me started on Victor Caratini. My goodness. Like at first I liked that he was on the team because he was kind of clutch at first. Like I think he was super clutch. And then when everything started going downhill for Darvish is when everything started going downhill for Caratini. But because he can't really hit. He's a switch hitter, but he needs to learn how to hit from the left side before he can hit from the right side. So I don't really know what to think of Victor Caratini. If you Darvish is just going to be mediocre, if he's not going to be an ace caliber pitcher, he doesn't really deserve a personal catcher, in my opinion. But only time will tell.
Do you think they'll hold 3 catchers though? I personally think they will.
I think so too. I think if you have Darvish, you kind of have to, because you can't really afford to have Caratini out there for more than one day. I think earlier in the year, Caratini was really good in terms of like everyone liked him calling pitches and everything. Everyone liked him behind the plate. But I kind of think Austin Nola took over that role, where now Austin Nola can catch Blake Snell and Joe Musgrove, and you could see Campusano, because I don't think Clevenger is catcher reliant on anyone. I think Blake Snell needed Austin Nola.
He would get frustrated with Campy. It felt a little.
Oh, dude, he would get pissed at Campy. He hated Campy. Not as I don't know about as a person, but behind the plate, he didn't like him.
Yeah. Well, also like you see how Blake Snell is in the games. Like he gets like really like
into it.
Yeah, he's funny, bro. Because I want to say locked in, but it doesn't feel like he's locked in because he's just acting kind of goofy out there.
He's so goofy, yeah.
But like he'll be like, come on, bro. Like we can't be doing this. And like you see the frustration, like you see a lot of emotion from Blake Snell when he pitches.
He's so much fun to watch just because of that. Like he's so fun to watch. Now, regarding like the rest of the starting staff, obviously Darvish needs Caratini, but I think if Paddock is in the rotation, because there's speculation he might be hurt. If Paddock is in the rotation, you could definitely see Campusano catching Paddock, and you could see Campusano catching Clevenger as well. I don't think Clevenger is catcher dependent, so I think anyone can catch him. And I think Campusano might be the pop that this team needs out of that catcher's position. They need pop from a couple positions that aren't catcher. I think they need pop literally everywhere except for second, shortstop, and third base.
What about center? I think center's fine.
I love Trent Grisham. I really do.
So Ryan, who's been on the show a few times, the guy that will give us information on like what's going on, he's gonna come on and do an off-season plan later. And me and him we had like a phone call the other day for like 2 hours, just like talking about the state of the Padres. And we were talking about Grisham. He goes, dude, I love Grisham, but I don't view Grisham like everyone else does. Like he's like, I don't even view him like you guys do. Because we view him as like, oh, look at this, like overall as a hitter, he gets on base, he has a lot of extra base hits, not putting up crazy average and stuff. Like it's worth it because he gets on base so much. And Ryan's more like, I view him as a defensive first player.
Mm-hmm.
And in center field, that's what you want. So like, I think center's fine. I'm fine with having Myers start in a corner outfield spot, but you have to improve the spot left by Pham, and you have to improve first base. And if you improve catcher, that's 3 spots. I mean, that's 33% of your lineup that you are improving, like potentially drastically. We had them going after and getting Josh Bell and Starling Marte. That would be, I mean, that'd be great additions right now.
Yeah.
Igor, we're not really hating on Haas. We were actually talking earlier, like it seems like some people are like trying to put every single problem that the Padres have on him, and that's just like not accurate.
That's
like
not realistic.
He might have struggled, but it's not literally like all on him. Like that's just, you can't do that, dude. You can't be like, well, we fell apart as a whole team in baseball team sport, but there was one guy. Like no.
Yeah, exactly. Because it wasn't just him. Tommy Pham sucked at the same time. Trent Grisham sucked at the same time. Will Myers.
Oh man.
Will Myers sucked at the same time.
Myers would get hot.
And he got hot, and then they bench him.
Let's bench Will Myers. He went 4 for 4 yesterday. It's like, guys, we haven't been watching Will Myers his whole career. You bench him when he's slumping. When he starts picking it up, then you start him, and then he balls out. And that's why you saw him like have such a good 60-game season, because it's like that hot stretch. And that's why I think like it'll be okay if he's there. I see some people talking about like the power and stuff. That's the thing. Like Myers can be a guy that provides a lot of power, but you can't rely on him to be like your fifth, like, or like, what was he last year? The 4th best power hitter?
Probably.
Like that's not that good. I mean, and if you bring Campusano up there, he's not going to play every day, but in terms of like home runs per at bat, he could. Josh Bell would definitely provide a ton of power. Starling Marte doesn't provide a ton of power, but he's just like a very complete baseball player. You would expect positive, improvement from Trent Grisham. I don't know. I think that they can add a lot of power just like by a corner outfielder, a first base, and then bringing Campusano up. Like I think that would do a ton. And also to change their approach, because their approaches are so bad.
Yeah, it was so bad. You asking about the center fielder spot. I think Trent Grisham is good. Like I do think he's a good player. The main issue I have with him is that his hot streaks are really hot. They're really good. He's a really good ball player. Like he's really good at the plate, has a really nice approach, swings at his pitch, and that's when he's driving the ball. But when he goes cold, oh my goodness. It's like almost a guaranteed out. And that's my biggest issue with him, is that he's not a very consistent player at the plate. Of course, he provides you that Gold Glove defense in center field, which is fantastic. But what we were lacking last year was just plate discipline, approaches at the plate, and I would say he wasn't helping. But I do have hope for him in the future. I think think he will still be a solid player. I think CJ Abrams, Matt talked about having Will Myers in one of the corner spots. I think CJ Abrams needs to be if he's not a second baseman, because I think shortstop is locked down. Fernando has said he wants to be a shortstop. The organization seems set on having him at shortstop. I think CJ Abrams could be a really good right fielder. It's not bad to be moved to right field. Mookie Betts was moved to right field. There's guys who've played the infield that got moved to the outfield. So I think CJ Abrams could project really well as a really good right fielder. He was able to throw 93 to 95 miles per hour before he got hurt. I don't know if that's still the case, but he was able to throw that hard from shortstop. So I mean, obviously it'd be the same from the outfield. Has the arm, has the speed. You just got to get him a couple of reps in the outfield, get him some reps in the outfield, and see what he can do out there. Get him a lot of reps in spring training and right now in the fall league. And I think he could definitely be called up. I don't think he'll start on the opening day roster because that whole rookies stupid thing.
Also, but to be fair, another thing for him is like he missed like all of last year.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, get him a lot of at bats in the fall league. Get him a lot of at bats in spring training. Really get him out there. And I'll trade a gamble for a gamble. Heard me say it before. Cody Bellinger for Trent. Dude, I want Cody. Like, I'm serious. I want Cody.
Well, and if you do that, you're still getting the fielding.
Yeah, exactly.
Isaac, I don't think it's gonna happen though.
No, it's not gonna happen. No. Come on. Yeah, no way. But I mean, I don't know. I just think that's a good get. Like, not that trade. Like, I don't know about that trade, but just bringing him in is a good gamble. Like, that's somewhat like low key. That's a guy that could play first base.
Well, dude, he just hurt. Like, he cannot swing the bat.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think if he gets more at bats and he gets healthier over time, I still think he's got it.
He's got to tell him to calm down in the dugout with the high fives. Sportslight, I got a question for you. So we did this, Isaac. You weren't on this episode, but for Marte, we had 5 years for the first year, 15 million for the second. I feel like this was a fair enough deal because he's 33 years old right now. I think I don't know if he's 34 when the year starts or he turns 34 during the season. So he's a bit older. Yes, he's put up good numbers, but the only thing is like that's 2 years, 20 million, and last year he made either 10 or 12. Like, it's pretty close. It could be a little bit more per year, but I think that he would be fine especially if that second year is guaranteed, because it kind of saves him. Like, if he's in a spot where like he struggles and then he's gonna be making like 15 million, it's like, okay, like there we go. Like, that's that final year. Like, that's why I think it's a good thing for him. A lot of older players like those backloaded deals, and we've seen it work for a lot of guys too if they kind of fall off a little bit. But we'll see how it is. But he's older, but his production will cost more. He definitely won't take 5 million. I mean, it wouldn't be taking 5 million though. Like, it's still taking 20 over 2 years. It's just like kind of pushing it back. And if it's 10 million, like, I think that could work too. I just think for what the Padres are trying to do, it would make more sense to backload it. And I don't think that Marte, like, I don't think it would affect him in terms of like, I don't know. I don't think that he would be like, I don't know. I don't think he would turn down a deal because it's like getting paid the next year. Like, he's already a veteran. He's already made good money. Having it come a year later isn't going to be like a huge deal for a lot of guys like that. Not every time, but for a lot.
Yeah. One thing I'll say real quick, because I saw someone saying that the Padres don't really need power. It's not an emphasis. I won't say it's the biggest emphasis in the offseason, but they need power. If you look at three of the top 5 teams in home runs this year, I don't know about OPS. I'll look at OPS right now, but 3 of the top 5 teams in home runs are in the playoffs right now. Two of them were 108 win teams, not in the regular season, but if you include postseason wins, they were 108, 109 win teams. That being the Giants, who were second in home runs, and the Dodgers, who were 4th. Another team that's in the NLCS right now, the Braves, were 3rd. The Yankees, who made the playoffs, were tied for 6th. The Rays, tied for 6th. Astros, 9th. Us, all the way down at 23. The teams around us, Tigers, Mets, Rangers, Royals, Nationals, Rockies, Angels, all teams that did not make the playoffs. So we need power. We absolutely need power in there somewhere because it shows like it's definitely important. We need somebody in there that can slug. And I'll look at slugging percentage right now, but like we definitely need power out there.
So I think so. Who was it that said that? Adrian. So I think Adrian is talking about like the main focus should be on coaching and player development.
Absolutely.
I think that will improve the power. I think that's super fair. And like Aaron says right here, I think coaching strategies has a lot to do with their power look. Look how they played Will Myers this year. Oh, I mean, you guys have heard the way that Chase talks about it. Chase loses his mind when Will does not play in Coors Field or at the Diamondbacks Stadium. I forget what it's called. Chase Field. When he doesn't play at Chase Field or Coors Field, dude, Chase gets so mad. Like, he gets so angry about that. But I don't blame him. Like, his numbers are ridiculous there. He hits bombs. Like, he just plays really, really well there. And that's the thing. Like, it doesn't seem like they adjust to their personnel. So I definitely think that coaching is a huge part. But also, like, going and getting a power bat, like, that's going to help too. So
yeah,
I like that a lot. Olivia over here says absolutely need power. I agree. You just can't be one of those low end teams. We've talked about it before. The Padres OPS numbers dropped, or was it OPS or slugging dropped? No, I think it was OPS. It was 60 points.
Yeah, I have it right here. So we're gonna look at the top teams again. Toronto, what they had like 90 wins, right? Something like that.
And not
They
even
were up
great
there.
pitching.
Not really. Robbie Ray was fantastic. But other than that, Barrios was a flop for most of the time after the trade deadline. But Toronto was first. Boston Boston and Houston both in the ALCS right now. Second and third. The Giants were fourth. The Dodgers were seventh. Atlanta was 9. Tampa Bay was 10. 13 Yankees. Like I'm only naming these teams because they were playoff teams. St. Louis 15, San Diego 16. And if you look at the teams right under us, Oakland didn't make the playoffs. The Cubs didn't make the playoffs. The Angels didn't make the playoffs. Cleveland didn't make the playoffs. Milwaukee made the playoffs, but riding on their pitching. So, in terms of OPS, home runs, and all that, that's pretty much why we're emphasizing like we need some power bats. And like I said, I don't think it's the main emphasis. I think Aaron is right with some better coaching strategies, really emphasizing launch angle, all that kind of stuff. I think we'll see more power the way that we kind of saw Brandon Crawford, Brandon Belt, all of a sudden they're just raking out of nowhere.
You need to bring in coaches that can elevate your players like that.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a take. I don't know where you stand on this, but Myers can't be a starter. I know we all love how long he's been on the team, but he's just not good anymore. I think he can be a starter. I think if he's your left fielder, that's okay. However, you need to have a contingency plan. If he's slumping, if he's not playing well, you need to have a guy like Abrams or Hassel, having them potentially coming up and taking his spot if he doesn't perform. I think that's okay. But I think he can come in as the opening day starter, but it can't just be like, well, we're going to kind of, just have him here. And, we're not going to have a true plan behind him. Like, we're going to play Jerks and Profar in the outfield. Like, that's one of the issues right now with the Padres is like Profar, who's making what, $9 million a year, $8 million a year, is stashed on the depth chart.
Yeah.
He's going to provide and I think a lot of Profar's value too is just his at bats. Like, he has great at bats. He has super long at bats. They're very gritty. He's a very solid player to come in and pinch hit or be at the bottom of the lineup. But he's an infielder. Like, he is a infielder. He should play first and second. Now the problem is Cronenworth plays first or second. Abrams is coming up. Frazier's here. Kim's here. Like, there's way too many infielders. And we had some comments about that a lot. It's just something like, I don't know. Yeah, Frazier. I don't think Frazier is a big power bat, but like Frazier's launch angle completely fell off the table too.
He only had 1 home run with us.
Yeah.
So 5 home runs total on the season. One thing I will say about Adam Frazier, so I was watching I forgot who interviewed him, but Adrian Gonzalez was interviewed just recently, and what he said about this Padres team was just basically what everyone's been emphasizing the whole time was there was no consistency in the order of the lineup. He said you have possibly the best second hitter in Adam Frazier in the league, and you're batting him 8th. I don't know if he's the best second hitter in the league. I honestly do not think he's that good. But, I mean, apparently other people think otherwise. So I think if, lineup consistency was a struggle down the road, we saw Will Myers would get hot. He'd get taken out. Adam Frazier did get hot towards the end. And you probably could have had him batting second. And he wasn't batting second very often. But they kept the biggest issue was they kept playing Haas and Myers. And one thing I will say about Myers, I don't really know if he's a starter anymore either. I think if you look at the rest of the teams in the playoffs right now, I can't name a team that has such a big such a big weak link. I really can't think of any team in the playoffs left that has this big of a weak link. You could say Cody Bellinger for the Dodgers, but the guy's hitting
He's hitting good lately, huh?
Yeah, he's hitting good lately. In the postseason, he's hitting like 250 or above right now, which is much better than what he did, like 167. So it's kind of tough because I don't think he's our biggest weak link. That was obviously Hosmer. However,
I don't think so. Like, I see what Aaron's saying right here.
Mm-hmm.
Myers' numbers aren't that bad. But I
Yeah,
think
no,
the
they're not.
problem
Yeah.
is, like, just real quick, like his OPS plus was 113 last year. 334 on base percentage, 768 OPS. Like, not crazy. His power numbers were definitely down too.
Yeah, that's a big issue.
But when we talk about, this team not having the power, like, we got to, like, we can't just be like, oh yeah, like the power number should go up, but like Myers is on himself. Like, no, like that's part that's part of the issues, like with the Padres and with their coaching and whatnot. So I think that I think he could be a starter,
Yeah,
but he can't be one of like your top hitters. Like I was
exactly.
saying, he was the fourth best hitter in terms of numbers last year.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't have the numbers that you want from your fourth best hitter. Like that's like not even close. So that's what I think is tough. If he's your sixth best hitter, then you probably have a pretty strong lineup. Like that's pretty
Mm-hmm.
good. So I think that's what matters a lot. Catcher position, when Noah was there, like he was hitting all right, but he was constantly banged up.
Yeah.
The power numbers were not there. Like that was like an empty spot in the lineup a lot of times. Pham and Grisham were empty spots in the lineup. First base was empty spot in the lineup a lot of times. Like and then you have the pitcher spot. Like you can't have 5 empty spots in the lineup where it's like not good, like where it's really hard to hit. That's what we see like a lot of these teams. The Angels, that's why we always see like the Angels are it's like, oh look, they got like these crazy superstars, and like
Mm-hmm.
the other guys just don't work out, or they don't have any pitching. But I just think like, I don't think moving Myers is like the solution. I think that just kind of like then you just have to go find another corner outfielder. I
Yeah.
think it depends. Like they could definitely trade him too. Like I would not be surprised if they trade him somewhere and then they get like they get another outfielder a different way, or they get an outfielder involved in that trade. Though I would expect to be like, oh, they trade Myers for pitching and then they trade whoever for an outfielder, like or Frazier for an outfielder, right? Something like that. So
Yeah. One thing I'll say is that my biggest issue with Will is like he doesn't perform horrible. I don't think he's the worst outfielder. He's a good outfielder. His OPS was right around what I expected to be. The the worst part that like something that bugs me is that everyone that talks about Will Myers would say like, oh, this is kind of a bad year. But in terms of home runs, yes, it was a bad year. I'll look up his home run numbers right now in other years. But if you look at like his career stats, this is kind of a typical Will Myers year, right?
yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong in that.
Yeah. So if you look at the rest of the 162 game seasons, um, 2018 only had 11 home runs, however, only in 83 games. So probably on a pace of around like 20, 22. In 2019, played 155. We all know how much slander he took after the 2019 year. Only 18 home runs. This year, played 146, only 17 home runs. 26 or sorry, let me see. 2016 and 2017 were fantastic for him. He hit 28 and 30. So, I mean, he has it in him. That was, of course, many, many years ago. He has it in
I think
him.
he still has it.
Yeah, I think he has it in him too. You look at that 2020 year, he had like 15 in only 60 games. So clearly he still has it. I don't know if it was health that was holding him down. I don't know what it is, but my biggest issue is that not only is this a typical Will Myers year, but also his contract is way too big in terms of like he's basically I wouldn't say he's stealing money like Hosmer is, but it's just that money can go somewhere else. It would have been able to go somewhere else. Like Chase has said in the last one, in the last video we did, what they should have done is they should have front loaded his contract instead of back loaded it
Or
because
even
his
just
first
make it
just
even.
made it even exactly.
It didn't
His
make
first
any
couple
sense why you'd backload it.
no, because
You had
that
no
was
one to
gonna
pay.
that was gonna be our contending year. Like those backloaded years are supposed to be our years of contention, and you severely and you're banking on him to be a stud. His first couple years, he was making less than 6 mil each year.
Yeah, like okay,
So
imagine if Will was making that now. I think the narrative on him would be so much
yeah, it'd be
different.
so much different. Exactly, it would definitely would. I wouldn't mind the numbers he put up this year if he was making less than that. Um, so I don't know. Only time will tell with Will Myers. I do still think he will be around, but if he does not perform this year, I'm talking like 25 home runs because those are the numbers I expect from Will, at least from the talks that he gets about how much power he has and everything. If he can get around 25 home runs, yeah, that's why I brought up like I don't know what was hindering him if it was injuries because I know like I heard he did have a knee injury that's been bugging him.
And that's what Nola had too, where there's like literally no power.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. I mean,
So
that's a terrible
it
injury,
is
generating power.
your legs is pretty much everywhere you drive your power. You generate all your power, your hips, your legs. But one thing I will say is that like if he doesn't perform this upcoming year, 25 home runs around the same OPS, I don't know if he'll be around the following. Like I don't think there's a way you can have him around the following. And again, if we don't win this year, this team could get blown up. Like it sucks to say, but that's a legit possibility, especially because Jake might be one of the best trade pieces out in baseball right now.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like Adrian's saying right here, that's the problem with this team. They give big contracts, making it hard to trade them.
Mm-hmm.
You could give big contracts to Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis. I don't think anyone's ever argued like, oh yeah, like they just messed up giving Tatis that extension. Actually, no, you know what there was? Remember early in the year?
Oh goodness
And we were
gracious!
like, guys, calm down. Like,
Chill
sit down for
out.
like a week of baseball.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it is an issue. Like, and you look at like not even like the main guys too. Like, let's see, Craig Stammen. We thought he made a lot more. Ends up Craig Stammen's kind of like the steal of the team. But Ha-Seong Kim, I wouldn't really include him in this just because he makes a lot of money, but he's also like a giant
Developmental piece.
marketing. Yeah, exactly. Like he is such a star in Korea that they're really trying to expand out there and become an international brand. I think that is a great way to do it. You guys all know, you go to the ballpark, Ha-Seong Kim's up to bat. It is louder than when the only person that's louder when they come up to bat is Tatis.
Mm-hmm.
People get way more hyped for Ha-Seong Kim than Manny Machado. And it's not like people don't get hyped for Machado. It's like they get that hyped up for Ha-Seong Kim. So I think that's the reason why he's like, I wouldn't really include him because it's more like. Sorry, I don't know what happened. They're probably making more money off of, like his deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Jerks and Profar, couple bullpen pieces. What was Drew Pomeranz signed a big deal, right? Like,
Drew Pomeranz's deal was big. It's not worth it.
It's just so many guys. Fam's deal wasn't very big, but there's been a lot of guys where they come in. I mean, Darvish.
Oh.
I mean, I think he's going to improve, but I don't know. Michael, what do you think about this one? I just think that Castellanos is like, he's another example of like, you have to pay so much to go.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be holes on the team. Like, and maybe they do. Maybe they go after like that big move, but I don't think that's the way to build a winning is the best way to build a winning team in baseball. Like you got to have your fundamental pieces, and then you got to have your young guys that aren't getting paid that much that are playing well, like potentially C.J. Abrams, Robert Hassel, and Jake Cronenworth, and Luis Campusano. Like you have those. Like that's pretty cheap. But I think one of the things that needs to be like discussed a little bit, and I think we're running out of time here. Football's about to start, but another thing I'll bring up is they're going to have to start paying for pitching soon because they don't have the farm system to do that. Mm-mm. And when Blake Snell's gone, when Darvish is gone, when Joe Musgrove's gone, they need to extend Musgrove. Like there needs to be some guys that are signed, and they're going to have to go out. They're going to have to pay for pitching. So if they have all of their money in this lineup like tied up for like years, it's going to look like the Angels. Like that's what I'm afraid of. Like I just don't want them to go and make that crazy move like that. But
exactly.
You want to go over this one real quick, and then we'll probably take off out of here?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not the Dodgers. We don't have the money to spend like them. So I don't know if Castellanos is on the table. Marte is probably the optimal choice there.
Yeah, well, I think that's going to do it for today's episode. Fun talking. Hopefully, we got some good football games today. I'm not even a Chargers fan, but I'm super excited for the Chargers-Ravens game. That is going to be a sweet one. So even though not everyone here is all the San Diegans here are Charger fans, I think that will be a fun game no matter what. But that's going to do it for today's episode. We will be back. Our new schedule is going to be Tuesday through Saturday, and then live streams on Sunday. So just nothing on Monday. It just doesn't really work for recording for us. But yeah, so we'll be back on Tuesday, probably going over some off-season plan stuff. Hopefully, you guys have liked our move so far. If you don't, then that's fine. We'll go over other like potential moves, maybe not ones that we're including. There's a lot of guys that they could go after that are good players that aren't going to cost a ton. So I think you could see significant improvements in the offseason. Going to start with manager, but You got to build out this coaching staff. You need to have a strong supporting cast for these superstars of this team. And if that's the case, like, I think we'll see them improve a lot. But I like that. I mean, everyone seems pretty intelligent about what's going on. Like, hey, look, what about this guy? Like we recognize like what's going on, you know? So, and I think pretty much all of the listeners do too. So appreciate all the comments, all that stuff. Love the discussions throughout, the free agency and stuff, because it's super fun. I mean, it's such a fun thing to talk about. So thank you all. Isaac, anything else you want to add before we take off?
No, I'm good, man.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you all, and we'll talk to you very soon.